guys, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm super excited to share this recipe with you guys. It is one of my favorite summertime desserts, and it is for lemon blueberry cake. It is out of this world delicious, and if you love lemon and blueberries as I do, they are my favorite things in the world. You're gonna love this cake. Now I've got my ingredients for my cake all ready to go, as well as the lemon Italian buttercream. They're hanging out right over there. I've also made some lemon curd. It's only 4 ingredients. I will leave that on my blog as well, so you can make that if you want to go with this cake. If you don't want lemon curd, you can certainly leave it out, or you can buy lemon curd from the store, which I have done a time or two before, and it works out fine. So I've got all of my stuff ready to go. I've got my oven preheated to 340 degrees. I've got 3 6-inch cake pans right here, and what I've done was I just brushed a little bit of cake goop into my pans. And if you've never heard of cake goop, what it is a mixture of Crisco, vegetable oil, and flour, and it is the best thing for getting your cakes out of your pan. And I've been using this for many years to bake my cakes, and it works out perfectly. Now if you notice, I've got tin foil on my pan. Now what this is a makeshift cake strip. Now I've never invested in cake strips. I need to, because they are the best thing. All you do for this is you just get out a long enough piece of tin foil to go around your pan, and you need to get some paper towel that's long enough to go around your pan. Wet your paper towel, fold it up to the width of your pan here, and fold it up in the tin foil, staple it together, and just cut off the excess and staple it together. Put it on your pan, you're good to go. This will help keep your cake layers flat and soft. So I've got that, and they're ready to go. So I'm just going to go over all of the ingredients with you guys, and we'll get started. Okay, so I've got all of my ingredients here. I've got my cake flour. If you don't have cake flour, what you can do is measure out your flour, and per every cup of flour you're going to take out 2 tablespoons of flour and replace that flour with 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and then just sift it together 5 or 6 times until it's very well incorporated, and you'll have homemade cake flour. So I've got my cake flour here, some sugar, butter, I've got 4 eggs, lemon zest, I've got some vegetable oil, lemon extract, lemon juice. Use fresh lemon juice. Do not use the bottled stuff. You'll thank me later. I've got some flour for my blueberries here. I've got some buttermilk, and in here I've got salt, baking powder, and baking soda, and that's all you're going to need. So we're going to get this going and get these cakes in the oven. Okay guys, alright, what I've done is I just took my buttermilk and I poured half of it into a bowl. And what we're going to do now is we're going to add our oil to this buttermilk, or whichever buttermilk, and we're going to set this aside. We'll use that in a minute. For the remaining buttermilk, I'm going to add in my lemon juice, my lemon zest, my lemon extract. If you can't find lemon extract at your local grocery store, it's fine, you can leave it out. And then we're going to add in our eggs very carefully so we don't get any shell in there. And one more. Okay, Let me give my hands a rinse. And then you're just going to mix this up really well until it's very well combined. Break up those egg yolks. Alright. Now we're going to set this aside, and then we're going to move on to mixing our flour and sugar and everything together. So let me get this set up and I'll meet you right back here in just a second. Okay, I've gone ahead and added my sugar in here. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my flour. Get that out of the way. I'm also going to add in my salt, baking powder, and baking soda. Put that right in there. I'm going to attach my paddle attachment. We're just going to mix this until everything is very well combined. It won't take that long at all. Okay, now what we're doing is the reverse mixing method, and it just makes for the most lightest, fluffiest cake you will ever put in your mouth. It's absolutely delicious. So now what we're going to do is add in our butter, 1 tablespoon at a time, until it is very well combined and crumbly. Kind of looks like coarse sand. So I'm just going to keep on doing this, and then I will meet you back here and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay guys, my flour and butter mixture is come together, and if you can tell from the camera, it just looks like sand, like wet sand. And that is what you're looking for. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add in our buttermilk and our oil mixture. So I'm just going to put this down, lock this in place, turn this on, and then I'm just going to add this in, and we're going to mix this for 2 minutes. Okay, so I mixed this for exactly 2 minutes, and as you can tell, it is white and very fluffy. And what the reverse mixing method does, it just helps stop that gluten from forming as much, but it is nice and fluffy. So I'm just going to go around the pan and get up any bits that might be stuck on the bottom or on the sides, and just scrape that off, and whatever might be stuck on the little paddle attachment here, you want to clean that off as well. So I've got that. See if I can get this all off my little spatula here. Now we're going to turn this, or we're going to put this down, and we're going to turn this on speed 2. And now we're going to add in our egg mixture in about 3 or 4 batches. You want to add this slowly so it doesn't deflate any of that beautiful air that you've got incorporated in there. And you want to make sure this gets mixed in before adding your other third of the mixture. Now I'm going to stop this, pull this up, and I'm going to scrape down the sides of the bowl just so everything gets well incorporated and nothing gets stuck to the sides or to the bottom of the pan or the mixing bowl here. Again, scrape down that paddle attachment like so. Then we're going to cut this back on. We're going to add in 1 more third of the egg mixture. We're going to mix this together, and then we're going to add the remaining egg mixture, and then scrape the bowl again, and then like let it mix again for about 10 seconds. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and scrape the bowl down again. Get everything off of the bottom, off of the sides. Try not to get it everywhere. Scrape down that paddle attachment because we want all of this in the batter and not stuck in the bowl or on the paddle. Alright, so we're going to give this another little mix for about 10 to 15 seconds. And that's it. And now you're ready to put this into your pan. So I'm going to get everything set up and I'll meet you right back here. Okay guys, so I've got my batter in my cake pans and they're leveled off. So now what we're going to do is just add our 2 tablespoons of flour to our blueberries. And we're going to give this a mix and make sure they're all very well coated in that flour. And this is going to help them from sinking to the bottom, because if you've ever made a cake and you didn't coat the fruit, if you put any fruit in there, it would sink to the bottom. This is going to help stop that. So what we're going to do is just divide our blueberries and put them on each cake batter, and we're just going to gently mix these in with our little spatula. Now you don't want to go all the way completely to the bottom of the pan, because then it would just make it a little bit more difficult for the blueberries to come out. I will if I can get them in the bowl or the pan instead of all over the counter, that would be great. Alright, so I'm going to give my hands a wash. I'm going to clean up this flour and then I'll show you what to do. So I've got my little offset spatula here, and all I want to do is just gently push this down, kind of mix it around into the pan. You want to make sure all those blueberries are coated in that, but you don't want to press them so far down into the pan where they're on the bottom. And just mix that around, kind of level it off if you can, like that. And then you're just going to pop them into the oven, and they're going to bake for about 30 to 35 minutes, or until a toothpick inserted in the middle comes out clean. So I'm going to get these in the oven, and then when they're done, I'm going to take them out. I'm going to let them cool for 5 minutes in the pan, and then I'm going to turn them out onto a wire rack, and I'm going to let them cool completely. And when they get cool, I'll meet you right back here, and we will make our lemon Italian buttercream. Okay guys, so my cakes are out of the oven. They cooked about 49 minutes in my oven. So it'll depend on your oven how long they cook, so just keep an eye on that. I let them cool in the pan for about 15 minutes, and then I just turned them out onto a wire rack and let them cool completely. Wrap them in saran wrap, popped them in the freezer, and that's where they are right now. So what I've got here is all of my ingredients for the Italian buttercream. And what you're going to need for this is, of course, you're going to need a stand mixer. You can do this by hand, but it's going to take a very long time, so I do it in a stand mixer. I've also got a little medium pot here that I've got a candy thermometer, and we're going to cook the sugar and water together till it gets to 240 degrees. So I've got that. I've got some salt, egg whites, I've got some lemon extract, cream of tartar. And I've also got some purple food coloring. This is optional. You can leave it completely white. But since I'm making a double batch, I'm going to pipe some purple flowers on top. I've got some water and my sugar. Now I've got my sugar separated in 2 different bowls. I've got more in this one than I do in this one, and that's for a reason. We're going to add the one with the least amount of sugar to the egg whites, and the one with the most amount of sugar to the pot with the water. I've got my lemon curd that I made earlier, and I've also got some toothpicks, and that is for the food coloring. So let's get this going. We're going to start off with the egg whites into the bowl. I'm going to add all of those into the bowl. Now you want to make sure all of your ingredients are room temperature, because cold egg whites will not whip up. So we're just going to put that down and turn it on low, and we're going to wait till it gets frothy, and then we're going to add in some cream of tartar and about a half of a teaspoon of cream of tartar, and this is just going to help stabilize the egg whites, give it a little bit more structure. Add a pinch of salt. Now we're going to add in our sugar. So you're just going to add this in a little bit at a time. Now you're going to whip this until it gets to soft peaks. In the meantime, while that's going, we're going to get our pan here. What we're going to do is we're going to add in our sugar, remaining sugar, and our water. Now you don't want to stir this. You just want to kind of smush it around just to get that sugar coated with all of that water. Then you're going to put this on medium heat, and you're going to let this come up to 240 degrees. And by that time, this should be at soft peaks. So I'm going to go ahead and get that going, and then I'll meet you back here when we add the sugar water to the egg whites. Okay guys, so my egg whites are at soft peak. And I forgot to mention earlier, you're going to need 4 sticks of butter. So I've got that here. Okay, so this is my sugar syrup. It's cooked to 240 degrees. Now what we're going to do is going to turn this on about 2 to 3 speed. We're going to pour this in slowly on the side of the bowl. Don't let it hit the whisk, because then it'll just go everywhere, and this is very hot, and that is very bad. So be very, very careful. Okay, so I've got all of my syrup in there. Now that it's all mixed in, I'm going to bump up my speed to very, very high, and the bowl is very hot. You want to beat this for about 15 to 20 minutes until the bowl and the meringue is room temperature. It's going to take a minute. Be patient. It'll get there. You can also put some frozen peas on here to cool it down. So I'm just going to let this run for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then I'll meet you right back here. Okay guys, so my meringue is done, and it's at stiff peak right now. So what we're going to do now is going to lock this back up, and we're going to add in our butter, 1 tablespoon at a time, and scraping down the bowl after each stick of butter. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to do that now, and when it gets all combined, I'll be back and show you what it looks like when this is completely done. Now when you get done with the last stick of butter, you want to keep whipping it until it gets a buttercream consistency, and it's going to be beautiful. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay guys, so I've got all 8 sticks of butter in here. Now remember, I did double the recipe, but I will leave the instructions on my blog. This is all well combined, and it's very nice and silky, and if you turn it upside down, it holds its shape. So what I'm going to do now is just add some of this into this little bowl here. You don't need much. And then we're just going to add some of our food coloring. Now you can add as little or as much as you want. I want to go in the middle. Add that right in there. And then we'll give that a mix and see where we are. And if I need to add any more. I also added my lemon extract. I added 2 teaspoons of that in there. Now when you're adding your food coloring, you don't want to add the same toothpick back in there, because stick that on my little spoon there, put the rest in the thing, because you want to not contaminate your food coloring. So just go a little bit by little bit. Now it's turning purple. I don't want it a bright purple. I just want it to be like a baby purple. So just make sure that you mix this in well. You don't want any streaks. And you want to make sure that you mix this very well, because you want to get out all of those air bubbles. I'm kind of happy with that color there, because as it sits, it's going to darken. So I don't want it to get too dark. Okay, so I've got the air out of both of those, and I've got 2 piping bags here. I've got 1 circle tip and 1 star tip, and I want to put the purple in the star tip because I want to decorate the top with the purple. So I'm going to put some of that in there. Now you don't have to fill it all the way up. You can go ahead and just fill it halfway up, and then just twist that up and set that aside. And then I want to add some of this white into the star tip, because I want to pipe a border around so I can put in my lemon curd. You don't want to put too much, because you can always add more to this, but if it's too full, it's kind of hard to work with, in my experience. It is very hard to work with. So, I'm going to twist the top of that and set that down, and we're ready to start on our cakes. Okay, so I've got my bottom layer of cake here, and what I want to do is just add just a tiny bit of this buttercream, and this will help prevent the lemon curd from sinking into the cake. Just a tiny bit. Now I'm going to put this in this little bowl here, not all over my plate, but that's okay. We'll clean it up later. And then I want to take my round tip piping bag, and I want to just pipe a border around the edge. And then I want to take just a little bit of my lemon curd and plop that down right in the center. And just kind of smush that around right up to that border. Like that. And then we will put on the next cake layer and do the exact same thing. Okay, now that I've got all of my cake layers, what I want to do now is just go ahead and do a light crumb coat. And it's just a very, very thin layer of icing on top and the sides of the cake. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I will meet you back here when it's time to frost. When I get done with my crumb coat, I'm going to put this in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes, just for everything to chill and set. Okay guys, so my cake is out, it's chilled, and I also put my frosting in here as well. Put it in the refrigerator so it can chill up too. So all I'm going to do now is just frost it and decorate it, and then I will show you what it looks like when I get it all nice and pretty. Alright guys, so my cake is done and it's decorated, and I've got it right here, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. It's just very simply decorated, and I think that looks very pretty on a cake. So I can't wait to dig into this. I will show you what it looks like on the inside, a little snippet of a video at the end of this video. And yeah guys, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.